following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
A Gorn battleship dropped out of high warp within the orbit of Jupiter. Seconds later, a giant Gorn was beamed into space. Seeking destruction, the giant Gorn homed in on Jupiter Station. Lieutenant Uhura was at her station on the USS Enterprise when she received a desperate distress call from Jupiter Station. "They're being attacked, Captain," she said, "by a giant Gorn." "What?" Captain Kirk said. "On screen, Lieutenant." "Aye, sir, on screen." Jupiter Station was still broadcasting, even though most of it was now in fragments. In the middle of the carnage was the giant Gorn. "Different from the Gorn I fought," said Captain Kirk. "Bigger, of course. Spock, what do you make of it?" Spock was bent over his science station. "Incredible, Captain. That creature is indeed a Gorn, but it has been bioengineered to incredible size, as well as having a warp core for its metabolism." "Red alert," Kirk ordered. "Helm, follow it, but not too close." "I know what that monster is," Sulu said. "The Gorn might have created this creature, Captain, but it is immediately recognizable from Japanese cultural heritage. It is a kaiju, a monster too big to be real, and this one's name is Gojira." "I don't care if its name is Fred," Kirk snapped. "Follow it and stand by weapons." "Aye, sir," said Sulu. "Charging phaser capacitors and arming photon torpedoes." "Spock, please tell me I don't have to kill that thing with gunpowder, diamonds, and a bamboo cannon." "Such a weapon would be completely ineffective, Captain. I have scanned the creature and have my doubts as to the efficacy of phasers and torpedoes. Its hide is denser than uranium, and its warp core is capable of projecting an energy shield." "Captain," Uhura piped up, "Jupiter Station has stopped transmitting." "Scanning," Spock said. "Captain, Jupiter Station is devoid of life signs." "Forget Jupiter," Kirk ordered. "Sulu, stay with it." "Aye, sir. Gojira's warp core just spiked. It's jumping to warp speed, Captain." "Don't let it get away. Match its speed and direction." "It has just leapt to warp 1, sir. Following." Gojira dropped out of warp in high Earth orbit. Space dock was now its next target. Gojira grabbed space dock and bit through the top, like cutting open a can of tuna. The giant creature fired high-energy plasma from its mouth, melting starships and space dock. It fired repeatedly until space dock and the starships moored there were mere melted metal. 2 warp drives went critical, and Gojira fed off the massive release of energy. Meanwhile, the Starship Enterprise dropped out of warp behind Gojira, witness to the unbelievable destruction of space dock and its moored ships. "Uhura, anything on comms from space dock?" "Nothing, Captain," she replied. "Space dock is dead, Jim," said Spock. "No life signs at all." "Keep on it, Mr. Sulu. If that thing drops from Earth orbit, I want to know immediately." "It's dropping, Captain," Sulu said. "Fire all phaser banks and empty the photon torpedo racks on it." "As I conjectured, Captain," said Spock, "the giant Gorn's hide is too resistant to our weapons, and the creature's energy shield drains most of their destructive power. I do not as yet know how to destroy it." "And forget energy weapons. Full power to shields, Mr. Sulu, and full impulse power. Ramming speed. The Enterprise shot forward, its saucer aimed at the giant Gorn's abdomen. The Enterprise slammed into Gajira's gut with the leading edge of the saucer like a discus hitting the abdomen of an Olympic athlete. Shields sizzled against each other, and the Enterprise rebounded from its frontal assault. Starfleet Command fired drones at Gojira as the monster fell through Earth's atmosphere. "Gorn's trajectory, Mr. Sulu?" Kirk ordered.
"Captain, this is unbelievable. Gojira is falling on San Francisco."
"Uhura, warn Starfleet headquarters. Tell them to evacuate immediately." "Aye, sir. Sending now."
"Captain," Spock announced, "I believe I have a plan."
"This isn't one of your crazy ideas likely to get you killed, is it?" Spock raised an eyebrow.
"Perhaps," he conceded. "Permission to beam down to Starfleet, Captain."
"Do I have a choice, Spock?"
"No, Captain, I do not believe we do."
"Go, Spock!" Spock beamed down to Starfleet Academy. Students and teachers were running from the giant Gorn as klaxons rang out. Gojira seemed to consider destroying the Golden Gate Bridge, but for an unknown reason, left it standing. Spock kept the creature in sight. Gojira towered over San Francisco. Spock reached out to it with his mind as Gojira screamed in protest.
"Our peace with the Gorn," Spock projected his thoughts, "was hard won. You will not stand in the way of that peace, no matter how tall you stand. You'll cease your aggression immediately."
Gojira stopped, standing still. The thoughts were having an effect. The monster's giant eye focused inwardly on Spock's thoughts. Spock flipped open his communicator.
"Captain, please order Mr. Scott to fire a beam of pure antimatter at the creature. Now!"
Gojira howled in agony as the antimatter stream broke through his shield and his thick hide, dissolving the monster as it stood on wobbly legs. Gojira gave one last cry before falling into San Francisco Bay. "So, how did David bring down Goliath, Mr. Spock? A handful of pebbles?"
"I choose to ignore your biblical reference, Captain. No, it was not pebbles, nor even the antimatter stream. I conquered it with peace."
"Huh. Well, the Federation Council is already on this. Reconciliation with the Gorn hegemony has already begun. What the devil were they thinking?"
"They were thinking big," Spock replied.
Right.